I saw the Briefcase. I didn't want to, but at the same time, I felt like I needed to because I needed to see how bad the show is. And
did you watch the whole show? Were you able to watch the whole show?
I watched the entire show.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you get it? Has it aired yet, or you don't want to? You don't have to say if it's.
Oh no! Well, it's on TV. Yeah, I just watched it on demand on TV.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to give them. Because I didn't watch it when it premiered. I heard about it, and I was just like, "Oh dear God, I can't." And so when you finally talked about it, I actually watched it last night, and it's a ring of hell. I don't even know how we got to it. It's so. I really think Satan himself went to Studio City and pitched the show, or maybe Right Wing Mandela did it. I don't know because it's.
I have a concept.
Les Moonves.
Get Eisner on the phone.
Well, what? So tell me. So, what is it? As bad as it sounds?
Yes,
well, it sounds like it is.
Basically, you have two. The first episode, it's two couples, of course, both white. One is, I believe, in Manchester, New Hampshire. That's he's an Iraq war veteran who lost his leg. His wife is a nurse working a night shift who's 8 months pregnant, and they have another child. The other family lives in North Carolina. The guy is he lost his job in sales, I think like 8 or 9 years ago, and actually had a heart attack before that. And then the wife makes like $300 a week working part-time, and they have 3 teenage daughters. So, of course, both of them have, their own medical issues, their own financial issues. And, the people with the briefcase come, and here's the money. And, of course, they're like, oh, my God, this is awesome, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, well, you can either keep it. They give them 3 options. You can keep all of it. You can keep some of it and then give some to another family who's in need. And at the time, they don't know what that need is or who they are. Or you can give it all away. And you have, I think they give them, 72 hours to make that decision. And then as it goes along, they keep going back and forth on, like, at one point, one partner decides how much money they're going to keep and how much money they're going to give away. And then the other partner makes the same decision how much money they're going to keep and how much money they're going to give away. And, of course, they're like, it starts out with, we are, how much they, what their needs are, like, again, the family in New Hampshire, the guy is, they're building a new house because they live on the 3rd floor in an apartment, and the guy has like an artificial leg, and he's talking about how it's hard to walk up 3 flights of stairs. And again, they're expecting a second child. So they're building a new house. And at one point, the pregnant wife is like, wow, we could really use that money because I don't get paid maternity leave. And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, dear God, I'm going to throw my television out the window. I can't believe this got on the air. And it's just so manipulative. I mean, and this is the really horrible part, Sam. At one point, and this is where I almost turned it off because I was just like, I can't. They get to a point where each couple goes to visits the other couple's home. Like they basically like swap homes. And the New Hampshire couple goes to North Carolina, the North Carolina couple goes to New Hampshire, and basically goes through their home. I don't want to say ransack it, but basically they look and see what they have, what kind of clothes they have.
They look at their bills, right, to judge whether or not their expenses.
They look at their bills. The North Carolina couple saw the ultrasound of the baby that the New Hampshire couple was expecting. I'm sitting here going, so not only do they have to humiliate themselves on TV for this money, but they're allowing their privacy to be violated.
That part doesn't bother me. Look, people want to go and humiliate themselves on TV or anywhere else for money. I say more power to them. What bothers me about this is that the idea is like, okay, we're going to deputize you. You can go and see whether or not these people are morally worth, this money. I mean, that's the problem. The message is being sent out there that being able to pay your bills, getting maternity leave, being able to live in a house if one person is, lost a leg that is accessible. All of these things, these are not things that you just deserve. These are things that you must earn by your moral virtue. That message drives me nuts. What I want to see when you were talking about that.
No, you're absolutely right.
When that woman says, "I don't get maternity leave at my work," what I wanted was some union guy to show up with a briefcase and say, "I have here in this briefcase. This is there's a ticket down to Washington D.C. We're going down there and we're going to go testify as to why we should have mandatory maternity leave or paternity leave." Parental leave
and then on top of that, and then after we do that, here's a union job,
right?
A job that a nursing job covered by a union where you have paid maternity leave,
exactly,
and you have and that same couple at one point they're talking, they're thinking about giving, because the guy, the Iraq War veteran, is like, well, maybe we should give some of this money away, and we're all right, and of course the wife's like, are you kidding? We need this money, and he said, they're struggling, and because I guess they saw that the guy, the North Carolina guy, had a heart attack at one point. At least, and at one point he says, at least we have health insurance. And I'm just sitting here going, oh, dude, Jesus, I can't. It's like we've fallen so far that it's like, yeah, we have health insurance. We're middle class. We're okay. Like that's the standard now. At least we have health insurance, or at least we have a roof over our head. And I'm like, this is the richest country in the world. What do we? It's insane. But wait, but Sam, there's another show. This is part of what I call it. In England, the BBC, they are casting. I read about this the day after I heard about the Briefcase. They are casting for a show in England that's going to shoot. I'm assuming it's going to shoot in London, called Britain's Hardest Grafter. It basically is going to make the Briefcase look like Citizen Kane. They're going to have, and they are intentionally looking for working class people, and they're going to do like different jobs, and it's going to be an elimination show. And like each of you are going to have a task, and you're going to show how hard you're going to work, and if you don't work quote unquote hard enough, you get kicked off the show. The winner will be named Britain's Hardest Grafter, and that's the name of the show, Britain's Hardest Grafter. And I think they win, I think it's £15,000, which is nothing in England, particularly,
That's
in London.
like, at this point, I think it's $1.10. I don't know what
I think I've heard of this. People online have been calling it the working class Hunger Games.
Right, they're calling it like basically the Hunger Games for British television. There's actually a petition. I think there's a Change.org petition that people are signing to have them scrap the show. I mean, the show hasn't. I mean, they're casting it now, and somebody leaked the casting, flyer. A website leaked the casting flyer where they're looking for people. Like, are you hardworking? Do you need $15,000? I mean, it's just weird. And people are losing their minds over there, and I'm just like, I don't understand what this. It's just. There are no words for how manipulative and disgusting. And like you said, there's no conversation about policy and no conversation about how do we make this better, so that we don't need freaking shows like this. And I'm just ashamed.
Well,
I mean, it's just, I don't even know. I don't even know who did they think was going to watch it? I'm sorry.
It's all right. I listen. I feel your pain.